Hey guys, thanks for joining me this week in the garage. I am going to address today probably the single most often asked question I get either via email or messages or anything like that. And that is, how do we take a reflexed, deflexed blank like this and tiller it without having any major hinges or problems? Because there's this myth out there that seeing this particular bow come to correct tiller is something of a mystery. Guys, I'm here to show you today there is zero mystery to tillering this bow, and in fact it's probably one of the easiest bows you could tiller to full draw without fear of any kind of problems in terms of breakage or anything like that, compression fractures, etc. There's a few very important little pieces contained in this video. I haven't figured out how long it is just yet. It's probably pretty long in the end. However, there's some very important foundational pieces about how to construct this to get it already 8/10 tillered before you ever even put it on the tillering tree. I'm going to show you how. Here's our bow all laid out and ready to go. So cut to its profile shape, more like. So it's still 3/8 of an inch thick from tip to tip. However, it tapers from 1 3/8 inches at the grip down to 5/8 of an inch at the tip. And the reason that I go 5/8 of an inch at the tip is so that should we encounter any kind of limb twist or deflection out here, we've got some space with which to work to line up our string to bisect our grip. Same as measuring parallel out for about the first 5 inches and then tapering down to the tips out here. So kind of an American flat bow. I would call it my improved American flat bow design. So it kind of sweeps to these tips. That's the layout. So we are now going to take our belly piece of hickory and we're going to tiller it. That is another piece of the mystery of a Perry Reflex bow. If you guys are familiar with this, you want to tiller it in reverse and then glue it in reverse tiller prior to finishing the bow. But the key term in that whole sentence is tiller. You want to pre-tiller your belly. We don't glue it and then tiller it. That's just throwing a lot of energy after unnecessary work. What we're going to do is we're going to tiller it in this state and we're going to tiller it in reverse. All right, so we're already getting a good bend simply because we've got a thickness or a width taper on this limb, right? And so we're going to put a thickness taper on here as well. All right, guys, so I have gone through now and tapered my belly surfaces. I trust that you can probably see this in the camera view where it's tapered up to my grip area, but not beyond that. And then again on the remaining side here. So I've got an even taper, and you can see that I'm tapered down to, let's see here, I don't even know what I'm tapered down to. Very thin, about a 0.18. All right, so we're at a 0.35 here, 0.36 or so, and then a 0.18. So we are at half thickness at our tip as we are at our grip. That's the current taper, and this is just a straight taper, and hopefully you'll be able to see this in the camera view. Now this is going to be now backwards. This is the back of my bow and I'm tillering it backwards, okay? So you can see just based on a floor tiller that I've got a pretty good bend on that bow. Now, if we were to string this up, I'm telling you, be lucky if it makes a 30-pound bow. Lucky, okay? So this is tillered to an extremely light self bow is essentially what this is, okay? We could string it up and probably just draw it on back. It is so light right now, okay? The amount of effort I'm putting into this is like nil, Okay, that is where the whole Reflex piece of things comes into play. When we introduce Reflex in a glue line on this bow, we are introducing a ton of strain. It's not really strain, it's the opposite of strain, but we're introducing a lot of resistance when we do that. Okay, so we need, at this point, we would also prepare our bamboo belly, or bamboo back, I apologize. Bamboo back is subject to the exact same process, okay? We're going to taper it down, and we're going to tiller it to match this same tiller. So I'm working on a pretty even, almost arc of the circle type of tiller. I want even bend all the way down that limb. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Pyramid type design here. So we're going to be a little bit flat through the grip, but mostly even bend on down out to the tip. All right. When we thin down our bamboo backing should be about a 0.18 thickness. Take that back. Yes, a 0.18. So in the 1/8 of an inch realm of things, but only at the grip. Okay, so on the center, in the center areas, we're going to be at a 0.18, and we are going to taper that bamboo so that it also bends in an arc of the circle type of tiller before we glue it up. All right, so that is a very important piece as well. So essentially what we're going to have is 2 tillered pieces of material being glued together into one singular whole piece of material. At that stage, tillering becomes almost automatic. You're already there. I should mention that your methodology for tapering and tillering this portion of your belly is 100% up to you and the types of tools that you have at your disposal. There is no rule whatsoever as to what this should look like outside of it should bend evenly before you glue it. It should bend in the shape that you want it to bend in the finished bow. Now that we have our tiller parts, I don't actually have a bamboo backing because I'm not going to go to the effort of actually gluing together this belly. What we're doing is matching this particular bow right here. Okay. Everything's exactly the same. Same thickness, same widths, all those things is what's going on here. So we're going to graduate to this bow as we move forward from here. But I am going to show you then the next most important piece, and a piece that I think most Reflex, Deflex bow attempts are missing. There it is, guys. This is like the missing link in probably most Reflex, Deflex, Reflex builds that are done today. And that is that they are not steam bent or induced deflex into the grip of the bow. This here in and of itself is like the determining factor of what makes this bow easy to tiller or makes it incredibly difficult to tiller and prone to hinges right outside of the fades of the grip. This is it. And I will explain this here as soon as this is cooled and ready to go. So to help illustrate just how foundational the importance of having a deflexed grip like this is, I'm going to compare it to the blank that I already have constructed here and show you how this plays in. All right, like if ever we're going to reflex a bow, generally speaking, we do it at the grip. Deflex is the same idea. All right, so you can see that the most recently constructed belly piece that I have here here's how this is incorporated into the bow. All right, this is how it sits. So you can see that the bend is right through the grip. Now, in fact, the grip itself, while the riser is straight, right, it is not straight at the where it is glued up here. Nothing about this grip is straight, right? So our reflex is occurring in the limb, or in the grip, and not right outside the fade here. This is not where our limb deflexes. The whole bow is deflexed right at the grip, right? We shouldn't have some steep bend showing deflex out here at the fade of the limb. That's what causes us to have frets or hinges or whatever the case may be, compression problems right outside of the fade in this style of construction. All right, so that limb should be shooting off in a deflex direction to the grip and then reflexing back. Now, this particular bow has about 1 inch of total actual reflex to it. And the goal is to retain that entire 1 inch reflex through the tillering process. All right, here's where construction really meets the functionality of getting a good reflex deflex bow. So here's our belly piece. Now, in the course of gluing, we would have a power lamb here that extends 2 inches beyond our 8-inch riser. In this particular case, whatever length your riser is, good rule of thumb is 2 inches longer on either side. So with an 8-inch riser, I'd have a 12-inch power lamb in here, and then our bamboo backing. All right, so as far as gluing is concerned, I also have a video that explains my process for actually gluing, and I'll link that in the description, as well as put a card in at this point of the video. But this is where we really make or break our tillering experience. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just securing down the grip area for the time being, and I have about a 1.5 inch block in here, 2x4 round edge, and to get the bend in, I've got a 5-inch rise on a board right here. All right, so this is going to give us our deflex, or reflex rather. Okay, now in the course of gluing, all this stuff kind of springs back up because it's going to require, or it's just going to spring back up. It's not going to hold 100% because we're dealing with all natural materials in a single glue line. If we were gluing up, say, a tri-lam or something, it'd be another story. Woo! Watch out. All right. So, history and a quick reminder has taught me to secure this particular end piece with a clamp. All right. So here we go. As we apply pressure to this limb, it is going to bend in accordance to the tiller that we have given it. Now, if you wrap past mid-limb, you begin to concentrate that bend out there at the extreme tip. This is an instance where you're going to probably retain some of this bend in the final tiller. And so when I do my straight up reflex and deflex bows, I only go to mid-limb on my binding. And in doing so, I get a nice even curve, which is our tiller on that limb. I'll go halfway. I will repeat this process over here. And again, as I mentioned, because this looks like a pretty steep curve in the limb, it is going to come back down. When you take all of this off, it springs back up in a couple of ways. One, at the grip, because it actually sat much higher here, so it's going to spring back this way some, and then it's going to spring back this way. So we put a lot of pretty extreme bend into this particular example. When it's all said and done, however, this is what we end up with. This is the exact glue up that I used. Okay, so it comes back in here. All right, that would be how we get everything glued together. This sets the stage for easy, almost stupid easy tillering. Okay, I want to just kind of compare a couple things here. So we got an equal thickness as the bow blank here. If you check the ends here, also pretty close to even or similar thickness. So we're dealing with a blank that has been turned into a bow, glued up exactly the way I described. And this is the finished product right here. Now, I want to kind of obscure this part of things right here. Let's not look beyond just the grip of this bow. Now, if you were to invert this and just look at this as if it were on your tillering tree, this is the tiller that we've more or less assigned this bow in reverse. Can you see it there? Okay. This is exactly how this board started out. So can you see it there? The idea now, if you look at this back piece, here's what this gluing method has done. This is what this belly piece will look like when it is at complete rest. There is no strain being experienced on the belly of this piece of wood right here. This is the shape it gives when it's just static. Our goal is to get this one to look just like this one, because that's the point at which this belly piece, and I haven't even fully unwrapped this bow from being glued up. This belly piece, when it's straight just like this, means that piece of hickory is in a static state. It's completely relaxed. Now, make no doubt about it, it's going to take some force, and actually quite a bit of force, to pull it straight like that. And remember, this is down there in like that 35-pound range, 30-pound range ish. Might even be lighter than that. And see if I can't get this to sit up here. I don't think I can. Width is also the same. Everything about this blank that I have put together matches what is going on in this glued up piece. I didn't want to go through the whole hassle of gluing everything up just to show the tillering piece. So this is what results from that, with a well-matched piece of bamboo for backing. All right, I'm going to put it on the tillering tree and show you how it bends. Okay, he is on the shortest long string that I could manage. All right, and there you are. Basically, and I could probably go one more notch to really get it straight. But those limbs straighten out. You're just pulling your natural tiller back out of that board to straight. And from this point, you're just tillering a straight limbed bow that happens to be deflexed at its grip. Take special note, there's no extra bending going on right out of that fade. Right? We are not deflexing at our fade. The deflex happens right here. It's already deflexed before it ever leaves the riser section. See that there? And now when it comes time to tillering this, if you want to use a tillering gizmo, any other gadget or whatever you have at your disposal to show that tiller, you can do it. That is an easy tillering job. And truthfully, we're probably in this state pulled just far enough to probably get close to brace height. And so at brace, this bow is going to look like its limbs are dead ass straight. That's what a good reflex deflex bow should look like. And you are packing a ton of energy into these limbs. And this belly piece right now is at rest. There is no strain on that belly yet. That is its pre-glue up shape right there. And it took a lot of effort to get it down to that height. I would say I was pulling on it probably 30, 40 pounds just to get it to this state, which means I got a lot of weight removal to do on this bow. And we would start with that weight removal in thickness, or width rather. We thin the bow. We want to do as little work to this belly as humanly possible because it's already tillered. Hello, it's already tillered. Any corrections at this point are going to be very minor. So if you're going back and forth to remove wood over and over and over, you're on a roller coaster, more likely. Done correctly up to this point, you pull this thing out of its glue up, and you're basically battling weight. And for tiller, you're 8/10 of the way there. All right, so this is how you make it easy. All right. If you have any questions, because I know this is a lot of little detail and unfortunately probably a pretty long video, feel free to comment. I'll try to answer any questions I can, but by far and away, this is the one thing that I get asked about the most, is how to tiller reflex deflex bow. And it's this is how you remove all the mystery. All right, guys, so thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you guys next week.